is Mike Williams, and you are going to save the world by lunchtime?
Yeah, but it turned out to be a bigger task than I anticipated. So actually, the whole gist is it's a family joke. About 5 years ago, while working on one of the first MOOCs, I said to my sister, who's a year younger than me, you know what? I think I'm saving the world. And she said, "Oh, Mike, you don't want to tell people you're saving the world. They're going to think you're crazy." And she's a younger sister, so I thought, well, I'm not going to listen to her. But so then I came up with that saying, "I'm going to save the world by lunchtime." But turned out to be a bigger task than I anticipated. And then I came back a couple of years later. I said, "What do you think of that?" And Amber said, "I like that. That's very cute." So um, that's where that all came up from. So I'm working actually on aspirational thinking and learning environments and life learning. 3 projects. I'm going to talk about my second project, which is why do people learn? And I'd like to share my screen here. Hopefully I'll get this right. Okay. Well, a lot of people get into their, let me back up here a bit. That's not what I want. Okay, this is my gift presentation. Hopefully I can see this. What does that look like? Okay.
You don't see it yet.
All right, let me share this. And there. Okay. So anyway, the short bitty tag for this presentation is above. And I'm going to share, I want to be a, astronaut, clown, whatever, and birds of a feather. And there's my LinkedIn below. So you can get the presentation through that. A lot of kids get into college and they don't know what they want to do. And I learned that I want to be starts in elementary school. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an astronaut. It abruptly ends in middle school when your friends say, "So what do you want to be?" "Oh, I want to be an astronaut." "Oh, you're not smart enough to be an astronaut." So what I did is I learned also that another person, a leading ed tech person, Kathy Davidson of the MacArthur Foundation, said that a lot of jobs in the future are not known about currently for small children. So I want to work on the aspirational part. So what I did is I went out and I interviewed 3 astronauts at Caltech. And they said, "What could elementary school kids get involved in for future space and technology?" And they said hydroponics and robotics. So I went out to an aquaponics farm and I started the second project called Bradge Map, which shows you where all the aquaponics farm are. And I filmed all of the various different things that you could do at a aquaponics farm. And I put that together in the video and with the interview with the astronauts and the show and tell at the hydroponics. And then I made a big database of all the community gardens, hydroponics, aquaponics in the world, and laid it in the map that I just showed you earlier. And then a young kid gets excited. They at the end of the video, a button pops up and says, "Find a garden next to you." They click on a button, a map opens up local to them, Toledo, Ohio, 4 blocks away on Wednesday's Family Day. So they get their parents to take them to the space and they meet their mentors. 2 years later, they get to middle school and their friends say, "So what do you want to be?" "Oh, I want to be an astronaut." "Oh, you're not smart enough to be an astronaut." The young person can say, "Well, for the past 2 years, I'm working on a variety of tomatoes to be considered for the Martian colony. I don't think you know what you're talking about." So the thing about aspirations is when a young person loses their aspiration in middle school, they go through school without a purpose. They say, "Why am I learning this? I'll never use this." But if you stop and think about it, you never have to ask a child, "Have you done your dinosaur homework? Have you done your computer gaming homework? Have you done your astronomy gaming homework?" It's not a thing. So when a child goes through school with dinosaurs on the brain, they want to know about biology and botany because their dinosaurs eat this stuff. They want to know how much does the dinosaurs eat. They want to know about how the dinosaur moves. They want to know about kinesiology. They want to know about astronomy because the dinosaur killed their dinosaurs. And they want to know about geology because they want to know where their dinosaurs are buried. So when a child goes to school with an aspiration, they're like a sponge, whether it be for dinosaurs or space or engineering or something of that nature. So I've interviewed over 80 celebrities, like, I've interviewed 3 astronauts, Senator Barbara Boxer, Tom Hayden, even a famous film director like Luc Besson. I've interviewed a 4-time Olympian. 8 months after I interviewed, she won the New York Marathon, first American woman in 40 years to win the New York Marathon. Find out where these creative spaces in communities are so that young people can start to build their aspiration. Because a aspiration is like a spark in a campfire. You have to put your hands around it to keep the wind from blowing it out. But once it catches on, then not even the wind or the rain can blow it out. And when a child goes to school with a purpose, they can change their purpose as they go. So you introduce them to, places that do biology and chemistry and physics and little maker spaces. You also, as a child grows up and goes on field trips or family vacations, they can learn in these different environments. Even in Europe, they do a gap year or a year abroad before they go into college. And that's also another opportunity. So let's say, for instance, you're a young child, and I say, hey, son or daughter, you've been in school for 12 to 14 years, you're burned out. If you go to college, you're just going to get like inundated. Why don't you just take a year off and go, check the world out? So my son decides he wants to go to Lyon, France, the French cooking capital of the world, study under a 5-star chef, a 3-star chef. And instead of smoking in the alleyway on their break, she's as a dishwasher, she's doing julienne cuts and all those other knife skills on her break. After a while, the chef knows and goes, "Hey, mon ami, she's in France, so guess what she's got to learn? French." So the object is basically to learn by doing and experiencing, which are 50% learning modalities: project-based, design-based, and experiential learning. And be in those kind of environments, whether you're starting in middle school, elementary school, a high school, a year abroad, and even college. So in my first project, which is a MOOC, I have over 50 language courses, I don't believe that when people do online or distance or remote learning, they do it in their bedroom, at the library, at a coffee shop. But with a cell phone or laptop, connect the internet, you can go to the tide pool, study marine biology, go to the art museum, study art history, go on a gap year and learn French. On your weekend, when you're learning as a culinary arts, you catch a train, you go to Paris, you go to the Louvre, you study art history, art appreciation. You're in that creative space. So you're not seeing the picture, you're experiencing the Mona Lisa. After 2 years abroad, you come back as a senior in college. Your friends brag about doing bong hits fraternity. You talk about partying in Mykonos, experiencing the finer wines in the south of France, being a sous chef, having fluent French, international friends, and money saved up to pay for your last years of college. So this is more about life learning. I started this program in 2010, 2 years before Coursera, called World Mentoring Academy. It's an open community of successful learning, starting from childhood all the way up through death, with a community that supports each other in the creative spaces like the maker spaces, the artist residencies, the bio labs, the community farms, and things of that nature. And then your curriculum comes with you in all those environments, whether it be in a classroom, in your home, like homeschooling, or whether it be in your community. So that's basically the birds of a feather. And there's my tag if you want to write it down. And it has links to the badge map, which is all the creative spaces in your community. All right, so. Am I okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Why don't you stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm trying to
you
do
can
that.
keep sharing. People can write that down. By the way, we're recording this so that
Right.
you don't have a chance to write it down right now. The video of this will be up on our website. Not tomorrow. Don't come looking for it tomorrow. It'll take a week or two, but it'll be up there, and then you can watch it.
Yeah, I would suggest that you break those YouTube videos into separate videos,
Oh, we will. Oh, no, no.
because yeah, it takes a long time to go through 24
No,
hours.
that's why it takes 2 weeks, because we are breaking them up into separate
Okay.
videos. So absolutely, absolutely. And I want to welcome our new co-hosts here.
Great to be
Aaron,
here.
Cheryl.
We are here.
And Mike, I was going to suggest if you wanted to copy and paste that link into the chat here, I can pull it into the YouTube chat there so that folks can also just copy and paste it. Thanks for your practical approach to connecting and collecting people, or collecting and connecting people. I'm curious if you can tell us maybe like a story about one of the students that you've worked with that stands out for you.
Well, I had an interesting conversation with people that have gone down this path. And there is a lot of, I have over 36,000 students around the world speaking 30 or 40 languages. And my platform is a language agnostic. And I've worked with a couple of NGOs about 10 years ago to develop a MOOC, Massive Open Online Courseware, for Congo in French. And then I also helped another NGO in Angola in Portuguese to develop basically where it's on a thumb drive, and no matter if they have internet or not, they have all of the courses, whether it be on Khan Academy or the Gutenberg Project or any of those kind of things. So I've been working in this field since 2010, 2 years before Coursera. Now, about 2 years ago, the main reason I started my first project was to reduce the cost of college and get rid of student debt. And so I developed a MOOC that had over 800 courses, and 200 of them prepare students for APs, CLEPs, DSSTs, and all the others. So currently, students can get their bachelor's in over 60 majors from state universities in 6 months or 40 years, it's up to you, for under $8,000 books and college fees. Now, the CLEPs from the College Board, like the APs, have no age requirements. So you could actually be in 4th and 5th grade and earn college credit. Now, Amy mentioned that she worked with gifted children. Now, in a regular classroom, gifted children are normally, and smart kids are normally ignored because the teacher's working with the kids that aren't getting the material. So the smart kids are sitting there getting bored. Girls will sit quietly, but on the other hand, boys have ants in the pants. They squirm around, they do a little, spit, they do some comedy and maybe even a Broadway play, and it ends up in the principal's office. But what you could do is with edX, right? With edX, you can have the child studying US history from Yale on their tablet. And at the end of the semester, they take a CLEP exam and earn college credit in 4th and 5th grade. Right now, there's a lot of focus on young girls, but actually the boys are failing 4 times more than girls, and 60% of all college students are females. So right now, the boys, because the testosterone, won't sit in their seat quietly and causes a classroom behavior problem. You could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, keep them active and work self-paced. Now, about 1.5 years ago, I talked to the founder of edX, and I asked the question at the Open edX conference, and he said, I absolutely agree with you. And he added a micro bachelor's to their platform. So they have over 34 million users because I asked a 1-minute question during the keynote. So it's not as important for me to keep the edX going, or my MOOC going. So I'm focusing on the data sets for all the maker spaces and biolabs and film labs and stuff like that in the layers. And then I incentivize the young kids to go to these spaces and they get points in Badge Map. That's the third project.
My wheels are spinning in the many ways that what you're doing is solutioning challenges that we see. So I work at an organization in Canada called the Learning Partnership, and we run curriculum aligned programs in public schools that are all rooted in experiential learning to cultivate the global competencies for the future. And I have the privilege of speaking to diverse stakeholders, people who are universally committed to raising the workforce of the future, the problem solvers of the future, and the change makers and leaders that we know our world depends on, and our economy also, and our innovation economy. And one of the things that really comes to mind is a recent conversation that I was privy to about, first of all, the necessity of diversity in finding innovative solutions to problems. And second of all, the inaccessibility of pursuing certain career pathways because of the assumed credentials that a student needs to acquire in order to qualify. And what's cool to hear is about sort of how we can make that qualification more accessible through this, and also simultaneously, how can we make those jobs more accessible through revised HR practices and whatnot. So it just
right. Well,
not a question, a comment. But
I don't know
if
you're familiar with the Renaissance. You've heard the term, but you may not know where the cradle of that was. I spent a couple of weeks in Florence studying the Renaissance, how the Medicis developed an artist residencies, and young people came up through their artist residencies working under masters. So young Leonardo, Michelangelo, and all the others, they didn't just do art, they did architecture, like they did the Dome, and they did medicines, they did astronomy, they did a lot of other things. So what I see in the future is that we are not going to be schooling in just in class or homeschooling. Will be do community learning, where you're actually at these places learning along. You have all of your technologies and all of your opportunities, your assignments, and your badge creation. So a lot of kids will learn Spanish in school but never use it in the community. So if you incentivize them to go order the burrito in Spanish or Mandarin, then they start to use what they're learning in class or home. I'll let you get to the next session. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. We appreciate your extra time.
Yeah, connect with me through LinkedIn, and I have short videos. This is actually the second time that I've given a presentation with PowerPoint. My third time. The first two were both in front of large audiences, and it was an Ignite Speak where you only had a couple of seconds, and each slide went from one to the other. And so that was my initiation to PowerPoint, was being forced to slide every so many seconds. It's madness. So this is the first time that I actually got an opportunity to click the slides when I was ready to move to the next one.
You did great. Thank you for being here, Mike. Really great to learn more about your work and to spend some time with you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michael.